Under the cloak of a restless night, the city revealed its hidden character in a delicate interplay of shadows and light. The streets, bathed in the muted glow of distant neon signs and reflective puddles, whispered secrets of forgotten promises and silent betrayals. In a modest apartment on a narrow, rain-slicked street, our protagonist sat alone at a time-worn desk, contemplating the fragments of his past. Each scar and memory resonated with the weight of unspoken regrets, while the urban hum echoed his inner turmoil. Faded photographs scattered across the table recounted stories of familial bonds and shattered dreams, hinting at a history marred by mistrust and lost hopes. In the gloom, the lingering aroma of old tobacco and worn leather carried the taste of bygone days. As the city exhaled its melancholic air, every reflection in a broken mirror or a dim window spoke of hidden ambitions and concealed truths. Unbeknownst to him, a new presence neared, a figure whose arrival would disturb the fragile balance of his guarded solitude. His mind wandered through corridors of memory, each step marked by bittersweet echoes of betrayal and regret. Tonight, the stage was set not only by urban decay, but by secrets long buried, waiting to redefine destiny. In the dim light of his secluded room, Alexander wrestled with memories that had long haunted him. Each shadow cast by flickering streetlights mirrored the doubts gnawing at his heart. His past was a maze of whispered betrayals and missed chances, a tapestry of moments when loyalty crumbled into silence. Born into a family fractured by secrets and unresolved conflicts, he learned early that trust was a fragile commodity. Every tender smile from a stranger, every kind word from a friend, stirred in him the constant fear of an unseen betrayal lurking in the darkness. Yet beneath his somber exterior burned a quiet desire to reclaim the parts of himself lost to deception. In the solitude of that rainy night, Alexander's mind replayed encounters with those who once promised fidelity but delivered disappointment. His inner voice, both a beacon and a warning, urged him to tread carefully among friends who might wear masks of sincerity while hiding ulterior motives. As he stared at his own reflection in a rain-smeared window, the man he saw was a complex mosaic of regret and unfulfilled aspirations. Every beat of his heart bore the weight of personal failures, and the hope that, perhaps, redemption could be found even in the most desolate corners of a wounded soul. His journey was a relentless quest to decipher the true nature of loyalty in a world steeped in silent treachery. As Alexander's reflective night deepened, the door to his solitude creaked open. In stepped Diego, a figure whose arrival seemed both calculated and spontaneous. With an effortless gait and eyes that flickered between candor and guarded reserve, Diego carried an aura of duality that unsettled and intrigued him. His features were marked by subtle contrasts, a sincere smile that belied hidden storms, and a measured tone that hinted at both empathy and concealed intent. The moment their gazes met, an unspoken dialogue unfolded, a conversation of wary acknowledgments and silent judgments that neither needed to articulate. Diego's presence disrupted the familiar cadence of Alexander's isolation, stirring memories of old alliances and betrayals too poignant to ignore. His voice, calm yet imbued with an almost uncanny curiosity, broke the silence. "I have been seeking someone like you," he murmured, words that danced delicately on the edge of invitation and caution. In that fleeting exchange, Alexander felt an inexplicable pull, as if Diego embodied both a mirror and a mystery. The room, heavy with shadows of bygone truths, transformed into a stage where every gesture and subtle expression hinted at labyrinthine secrets waiting to be unraveled. In that charged moment, the fragile equilibrium of Alexander's world began to shift, setting the stage for revelations yet to come. A quiet promise of hidden depths and unforeseen connections lingered in the air. In the waning glow of an overcast evening, Alexander and Diego found themselves engaged in a dialogue that defied simplicity. Alexander, whose past bore the marks of betrayal intertwined with moments of unexpected kindness, carried an aura of resolute determination coupled with hidden vulnerability. Each measured word betrayed a secret softness that rarely emerged, a remnant of a heart long scarred by mistrust. Diego, too, proved a study in contrasts. His outward confidence masked an undercurrent of uncertainty and a history of missteps he seldom acknowledged. Against the muted backdrop of city lights and reflective puddles, their conversation unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance of admissions and guarded revelations. Diego spoke of ambitions once held dear and dreams now dimmed by regret, while Alexander revealed the duality of his own nature, a man torn between the demands of duty and the quiet lure of redemption. Every exchanged glance and carefully chosen phrase hinted at the internal battles waging within them. In that shared space, the boundaries between strength and fragility blurred, weaving a tapestry of humanity that was both fragile and profound. Their silent acknowledgments bore the truth that every light casts a shadow, and within that shadow, the seeds of hope and despair lie side by side, destined to shape what was yet to come. Deep within the intricate web of their interwoven lives, the dual nature of Alexander and Diego began to crystallize in subtle gestures and unspoken truths. In a cramped cafe tucked away from the relentless gaze of the city, they sat across from one another, their surroundings muted by the soft hum of late-night conversations and the distant murmur of traffic. The clink of porcelain against dark wood punctuated moments of reflective silence, each sound echoing the complexity of inner struggles that both men carried. Alexander's eyes, usually reserved and pensive, betrayed a spark of vulnerability as he recalled fragments of a past laden with personal failures and long-hidden familial secrets. Across from him, Diego maintained an enigmatic smile, his demeanor oscillating between candid openness and the careful concealment of deeper wounds. Their dialogue, layered with implications and nuanced admissions, wove a tapestry of human frailty intertwined with unyielding determination. Every word was meticulously chosen, each pause weighted with the memory of decisions made in the shadow of regret. The atmosphere brimmed with the quiet gravity of lives steeped in half-truths, where even a tender kindness might be mistaken for frailty. In that fleeting encounter, both men confronted the stark reality that every act of connection carried the latent risk of unintentional betrayal. As distant urban sounds filtered through rain-streaked windows, the duo found themselves ensnared in a conversation that blurred the lines between confidant and adversary, leaving them to wonder which hidden truth would soon emerge. While Alexander and Diego's intimate conversation unfolded in the rain-drenched cafe elsewhere in the city, hidden eyes watched silently. A discreet figure named Julian, known to few, followed the subtle interplay of events unfolding on these nocturnal streets. Julian's presence was both accidental and deliberate, his path intricately entwined with those of the two men. In an abandoned railway station cloaked in remnants of an industrial past, Julian meticulously chronicled every gesture, every hushed remark that hinted at secrets buried beneath public facades. His own past was as enigmatic as the crumbling architecture around him, a narrative of forsaken loyalty, unspoken grudges, and choices that had led to irrevocable consequences. Each step he took resonated with memories of paths once diverged, and now converging in a delicate web of fate. As the distant hum of urban life seeped into his secluded refuge, Julian pieced together fragments of a larger puzzle. His careful observations suggested that the fates of Alexander and Diego were no mere coincidences, but deliberate intersections orchestrated by forces unseen. With unwavering resolve, he noted every subtle inconsistency, every slight inflection in their voices that betrayed hidden remorse and deferred reckonings. In quiet determination, Julian vowed to trace these intertwined destinies until the veiled truth would emerge. His heart, hardened by years of solitude, now stirred with a cautious hope and relentless pursuit. Within the tangled labyrinth of intersecting lives, multiple narratives began to surface, each unfolding with its own rhythm yet intertwined with the others in an intricate dance of fate. In a dimly lit library, a woman named Clara pored over aged manuscripts, her fingers trembling as they brushed against forgotten letters. Her search for lost connections led her to pieces of a puzzle that resonated with the hidden truths of the night. Across town, in a quiet rehearsal hall, a musician named Elias played a melancholic tune on a weathered piano, each note echoing the sorrow and longing of unresolved histories. His music carried the weight of stories unsaid, and memories tucked away behind closed doors. As Clara's and Elias's paths edged closer to the enigmatic core of Alexander and Diego's unfolding saga, their own narratives began to weave into the same tapestry of intrigue. Their quiet determination and subtle acts of defiance against an unseen order served as both an homage and a counterpoint to the unfolding drama. The parallel journeys, though distinct in voice and manner, hinted at an undercurrent of shared destiny. Every whispered clue and every reflective pause in these disparate scenes added layers to a complex narrative that refused to be easily unraveled, beckoning all who listened to the silent music of fate. In the background, unseen forces nudged the threads of destiny ever closer, forging connections that would soon shatter illusions and redefine every truth. Under a cloak of growing uncertainty, subtle hints of betrayal began to emerge like shadows at dusk. In the dim corridors of a deserted gallery, Alexander discovered an unexpected photograph tucked between ancient volumes, a snapshot capturing him in a moment of vulnerability, taken from an angle that hinted at a secret observer. The image stirred questions he had long avoided. Each detail, from the blurred background to the slight distortion of light, suggested that his every move was being watched. Meanwhile, Diego received a cryptic note on coarse paper, its carefully arranged words concealing more than they revealed. A fleeting gesture from a passerby, a nod too deliberate, a glance heavy with unspoken implications, further deepened the enigma. As the nocturnal pulse of the city quickened, fragments of evidence surfaced. Abandoned letters left on rain-worn benches, whispered clues exchanged in hushed tones, and discreet signals that unsettled the familiar. Every new detail carried an ambiguous weight, challenging long-held loyalties and hinting at a covert conspiracy woven into the fabric of their lives. The mounting signs compelled both men to question who among their closest allies might be orchestrating this silent betrayal. In the charged stillness between heartbeats, the promise of an unavoidable confrontation shimmered on the horizon, setting the stage for revelations that would shatter old illusions and redraw the boundaries of trust. Amid the shifting shadows of the nocturnal city, Alexander found himself ensnared by the unyielding grip of internal strife. Late into the night, as the urban silence was punctuated only by the distant murmur of passing cars and the soft patter of rain on cold pavement, his mind transformed into a battleground where conflicting loyalties and hidden remorse waged a quiet war. Memories of past decisions and the weight of unfulfilled promises surged forth, each one stirring a complex blend of resolute duty and reluctant yearning. Every recollection served as both a reminder of his obligations and an echo of silent regrets, compelling him to question whether his choices were born of honor or merely a desperate bid to flee from his own inner discord. He wrestled with opposing voices, one urging unwavering fidelity to a path carved by duty, and another whispering of the possibility to reshape his destiny, free from the relentless shadows of his past. The interplay of light and darkness outside, reflected in rain-streaked windows, mirrored the internal duel raging within him. A contest between the desire to preserve a fragile sense of integrity and the allure of self-reinvention. In that solitary hour, as each heartbeat resonated like a muted drum, Alexander's soul teetered on the verge of revelation, aware that every unspoken thought carried the risk of exposing truths he might never be ready to face. Under the persistent gaze of a shrouded skyline, Alexander emerged into a rain-drenched alley, each step echoing with the burden of revelations yet unrevealed. His mind, still racing with the echoes of internal conflict, sought solace in the anonymity of the city's midnight labyrinth. The cold, wet pavement underfoot mirrored the clarity of his newfound resolve, a determination to confront the secrets that had haunted him in every shadow. Along the narrow passage, reflections in puddles merged with the ephemeral glow of neon signs, creating fleeting images of a man torn between past regrets and the promise of tomorrow. An eerie stillness enveloped the scene, as if the city itself were holding its breath, aware of the delicate balance between hope and despair. Alexander's heart throbbed with both apprehension and subtle optimism, each beat a reminder that redemption might lie hidden within the ruins of his former life. Before him loomed a weathered building, its crumbling facade etched with symbols of forgotten histories and silent laments. In that suspended moment, he vowed to unearth every buried truth, accepting that the path ahead was fraught with painful revelations. Even so, the promise of clarity and liberation propelled him forward into the unknown, where every step was both a risk and a chance to finally reclaim his destiny. The murmur of the city served as a solemn chorus to his determined stride, sealing his pledge with an unspoken vow to transform suffering into strength. In the city's labyrinth of secrets, the convergence of past and present manifested as a subtle interplay of doubt and discovery. Alexander, driven by an unyielding desire to confront his buried memories, found himself drawn to a derelict estate whose facade bore the scars of time and whispered tales of faded glory. Each step on the creaking staircase echoed like a solemn reminder of broken alliances and lost trust. In a neglected study cluttered with relics of shattered dreams and abandoned ambitions, he discovered a leather-bound journal. Its fragile pages, inscribed with heartfelt confessions and cryptic reflections, revealed the hidden depths of a soul that once dared to believe in redemption. The words spoke of love marred by betrayal, of hope tempered by regret, and of a relentless quest for self-forgiveness. As Alexander pored over the diary, the interplay of light and shadow in the room seemed to mirror the turmoil stirring within him. Every sentence unraveled another layer of past missteps, urging him to confront the pain he had long suppressed. In that solitary moment, the estate transformed into a sanctuary of introspection, where the boundaries between sorrow and hope blurred into a poignant mosaic of truth. The echoes of history and the promise of renewal intertwined, setting the stage for a reckoning that would redefine his very existence. With the quiet resolve of a man ready to face his destiny, he closed the journal, aware that every revelation carried the weight of transformation, and stepped forward into a future crafted by both remembrance and the fragile light of possibility. Emerging from the echoing corridors of memory, Alexander stepped into a rain-soaked night that whispered of both promise and despair. In the wake of his recent discoveries, his heart pounded with an urgency that mirrored the city's restless cadence. Every drop of rain carried fragments of a past that threatened to overwhelm the present, each shimmering bead a reminder of promises broken and trust betrayed. As he navigated narrow, shadowed lanes, flickering lamplight cast distorted images on crumbling walls, with every silhouette suggesting a hidden narrative of love, regret, and quiet retribution. With each cautious step, Alexander felt the weight of unresolved mysteries pressing upon him, urging him to decipher a code of betrayal etched into every darkened corner. He recalled whispered confidences and furtive glances exchanged in secret meetings, the delicate balance between fidelity and deception that had once defined his life. Now, the night offered both solace and challenge, its chill mingling with the warmth of his determined resolve. Beneath a sagging awning, as he paused to gather his thoughts, Alexander vowed to confront every lie and unmask every hidden truth, even if it meant embracing the painful clarity of long-suppressed deceptions. His journey had become one of relentless pursuit, a quest to reclaim honor amid uncertainty and masked intentions that shrouded his every step under the pallid glow of streetlights and the relentless drizzle that blurred the edges of reality. Alexander stood at the threshold of an uncharted confrontation. In the midst of the night's quiet fury, he encountered a figure whose presence evoked both memories and unanswered questions, a person whose face was etched with the weight of past transgressions and silent sorrows. The air was heavy with the resonance of old grievances as the two men exchanged glances that carried volumes of unspoken discourse. Each measured word, delivered in tones that balanced regret and cautious hope, peeled back layers of a history steeped in complicated alliances and unforeseen betrayals. In that suspended moment, where the boundary between past and present was as thin as the mist hanging in the air, Alexander recognized the dual nature of human frailty. The encounter was not merely a reunion, but a turning point that promised to unravel the tightly knit fabric of deceit woven over years of guarded secrets. Every subtle gesture and lingering pause served as a reminder that the truth, however painful, could not remain hidden forever. The rain, a constant murmur in the background, bore witness to the silent accord between them. A mutual understanding that the path to redemption lay through the arduous journey of confronting one's own darkness and embracing the vulnerability of truth. In that fleeting intersection of lives, destiny offered a chance at reconciliation, or perhaps irrevocable change. In the quiet aftermath of the fateful encounter, Alexander's steps carried him away from the place where revelations had pierced his defenses. The city, illuminated by the subtle glow of street lamps and the lingering shimmer of rain, transformed into a canvas of reflective solitude. Every raindrop that fell echoed a memory, each one a whisper of lost time and unfulfilled aspirations. In a secluded park beneath towering trees, he paused to gather his scattered thoughts. The cool night air mingled with the residual heat of inner conflict, stirring feelings of regret and cautious hope in equal measure. Shadows of past betrayals loomed as he recalled faces that had once promised loyalty but deceived him. Yet in that silent interlude, a spark of possibility ignited, a chance to reshape his destiny and reclaim a dignity once shattered. With resolve firming his stride, Alexander vowed to delve deeper into the mysteries that had tethered him to a legacy of pain and secrecy. The pursuit of truth became his compass, guiding him through winding alleys of memory and corridors of hidden promise. Every step and pause in the rain-washed darkness echoed the weight of choices made and futures yet to be written. His journey, marked by introspection and a quest for redemption, pressed onward into the unknown. Within the shadowed corridors of his memory, Alexander encountered a truth that would forever alter his path. Amid the ruins of old allegiances, he discovered an envelope sealed with a familiar crest, its contents promising revelations of conspiracies and personal betrayals. The letter, penned in a hand both elegant and measured, recounted events from a time when hope and trust were common currency before ambition had tainted every promise. Alexander's pulse quickened as he absorbed words that bridged the chasm between past and present, exposing a hidden interplay of motives that had orchestrated his suffering. The document detailed a clandestine meeting, secret pacts forged in the dim glow of midnight, and alliances that dissolved like mist under the scrutiny of truth. Each sentence testified to the fragility of human bonds and to the relentless surge of ambition that transforms cherished connections into instruments of ruin. In that moment of painful clarity, he felt the sting of betrayal alongside a faint glimmer of redemption. This revelation stirred an urgency within him, compelling Alexander to retrace the labyrinth of his former life, determined to confront those who had condemned him to the shadows of despair and reclaim the dignity he once knew. With resolve hardening his gaze and a heart steeled against further deception, he stepped into the night, ready to unearth every hidden secret and face the consequences of long-suppressed truths. Every stride carried the weight of memory and the promise of transformation. Deep in the maze of twilight streets, Alexander ventured into a district where the old merged with the new, and every corner whispered tales of forgotten loyalties. Here, among crumbling facades and neon-drenched alleyways, he sought the remnants of an identity long obscured by the relentless passage of time. An abandoned workshop, its windows shattered and walls etched with the scars of neglect, beckoned him forward. Within its echoing chambers, he discovered artifacts: a tarnished pocket watch, yellowed letters, and a solitary photograph that resonated with the ghosts of his past. Each relic bore silent testimony to a world where trust was both a cherished treasure and a perilous gamble. As Alexander traced the worn inscriptions with careful fingertips, memories surged forth like distant thunder, mingling with the present in an overwhelming cascade of emotion. In that suspended moment, he recognized the delicate interplay of fate and free will, and the bittersweet beauty that emerged from confronting the fragmented pieces of his history. Determined to reconcile these shards with the man he had become, he resolved to follow the trail of hidden symbols scattered throughout the city. Every step and every whispered clue promised not only revelation, but the possibility of forging a new path amid the ruins of betrayal and lost time. His journey had evolved into a pilgrimage, a quest to reclaim not just a past marred by deception, but a future imbued with hope and unyielding purpose. On the brink of a precipice, Alexander's footsteps echoed on a rain-soaked pavement as he approached a forgotten quarter of the city, where secrets lay dormant like embers awaiting a spark. Here, the air vibrated with the echoes of voices from a past that had never left him, each murmur a reminder of promises once made and broken. In a narrow, deserted street lined with shuttered windows, he encountered an old acquaintance, Marisol, whose eyes betrayed familiar sorrow and quiet defiance. Their conversation was terse, a subtle dance of coded words and restrained gestures that spoke volumes about histories of mistrust and unresolved grievances. Marisol hinted at a network of covert operations that had manipulated events behind the scenes, weaving disparate threads into a tapestry of calculated betrayals. Her words served as both caution and confession, urging him to navigate the balance between exposing hidden truths and preserving the fragile remnants of lost innocence. As the night deepened, Alexander felt the crushing weight of his complicity in a grander scheme of deception, each revelation slicing through his tender resolve like shards of glass. Determined yet cautious, he vowed to penetrate deeper into this underworld, prepared to face the bitter consequences of unearthing truths that many had striven to bury beneath layers of time and silence. In that decisive moment, the collision of bygone loyalties and uncertain futures forged within him an unyielding commitment to expose every concealed secret. Amid the lingering mists of a forgotten twilight, Alexander stepped into a realm where the past and present merged in a silent symphony of decay and renewal. His path led him to a derelict mansion perched on a windswept hill, its time-worn facade a canvas for nature's relentless reclamation. Vines crept over crumbling stone, and shattered windows revealed fleeting glimpses of a grandeur long surrendered to oblivion. As he entered the cavernous hall, the echo of his footsteps intertwined with whispers of history. Voices that spoke of fated dreams, secret rendezvous, and promises once made beneath the flicker of candlelight. In a secluded chamber, Alexander uncovered an ornate mirror, its surface marred by age, yet reflecting a distorted, enigmatic image of his own face. The mirror captured not only his visage, but also the deep scars of past transgressions and quiet regrets. Each reflection hinted at myriad untold stories, woven with threads of loyalty, betrayal, and the fragile hope of redemption. With measured resolve, he began tracing the intricate carvings along its frame, symbols of legacy and loss that beckoned him to decipher the mansion's hidden narrative. In that profound moment, amid dust-laden air and the silent watch of forgotten souls, Alexander realized his journey was not merely a quest for truth, but a pilgrimage to reclaim the fragments of a shattered identity. Every step in those haunted corridors deepened his commitment to piece together the tapestry of his past, even as the present trembled on the verge of irreversible change. Emerging from the haunted corridors of the mansion, Alexander stepped into a new dawn promising both peril and possibility. The mirror's secret still clung to him, a silent testament to betrayals and hidden legacies. His journey now led him away from crumbling relics to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, where ivy entwined broken glass and echoes of the past whispered in the cold morning air. Here, in the pale light of early dawn, a clandestine assembly had gathered. Figures cloaked in uncertainty met in subdued conversation, their identities concealed by shadows and muted expressions. Among them, a mysterious man known as Victor emerged, his penetrating gaze betraying a life forged in the crucible of covert operations. With calm authority, Victor unveiled connections between Alexander's betrayals and a sprawling network of power hidden beneath the surface of daily life. Each word he spoke was measured and loaded with meaning, hinting at alliances built on treachery and promises of retribution. The atmosphere vibrated with resolve and unspoken threats, as if the air carried the weight of impending conflict. As the morning sun dispersed the lingering gloom, Alexander absorbed every revelation, aware that each syllable drew him further into a labyrinth of secrets and danger. The brief meeting forged a new chapter in his quest, setting the stage for an inevitable clash between manipulative forces and a man determined to reclaim his destiny. Resolve surged, bold. At last, the culmination of Alexander's relentless pursuit drew near as twilight surrendered to the break of day. The city, now awakening to a fragile morning, bore witness to a final reckoning. In the heart of an abandoned courtyard, beneath a sky smeared with the soft hues of early light, Alexander stood face to face with the architects of his past betrayals. The confrontation had been long in the making, a collision of truth and deception that had simmered beneath the surface of his existence. Here, amidst crumbling statues and echoes of forgotten memories, he confronted the leader of the clandestine network, a man whose calm demeanor belied the storm of calculated treachery that had orchestrated his suffering. In measured tones, each word carried the weight of hard-earned wisdom and unwavering resolve. The atmosphere pulsed with the gravity of secrets long concealed, as revelations and accusations merged in a torrent of unspoken understanding. In that decisive moment, the edifice of deceit began to crumble, exposing the frailty of schemes built on false promises. Alexander, fortified by the scars of past wounds and the clarity of purpose, declared a new chapter, a future where truth would illuminate every shadow and justice temper the forces of manipulation. As dawn's first light scattered the lingering darkness, a tentative calm embraced the gathering, heralding the promise of renewal and the bittersweet taste of liberation. In conclusion, the narrative of Alexander stands as a profound exploration of the human spirit, marked by deep wounds, bitter betrayals, and the unwavering pursuit of redemption. Haunted by the scars of past deceptions, Alexander embarks on a journey through shadowed streets and crumbling remnants of trust, seeking solace in the truth hidden within his fractured memories. His path intersects with enigmatic figures, from the mysterious Diego, whose dual nature mirrors the complexities of loyalty, to Julian, Clara, Elias, and Marisol, whose own hidden stories weave into the intricate tapestry of fate. Each encounter offers a glimpse into the multifaceted nature of human relationships, where every whispered secret, every unspoken promise, and every subtle gesture reflects the delicate balance between hope and despair. Throughout his arduous quest, Alexander is forced to confront not only the external forces of manipulation and treachery, but also the internal demons that threaten to consume him. The weight of betrayal transforms into a catalyst for self-discovery, urging him to peel away the layers of his painful past and to embrace the possibility of renewal. In moments of solitude and in the quiet aftermath of confessions, he learns that true strength lies in acknowledging one's vulnerabilities and in the courage to rebuild what was once shattered. The convergence of destinies, the silent exchanges of guilt and forgiveness, and the relentless march of time all underscore the timeless truth that even in the darkest of hours, the human heart retains the capacity for hope, transformation, and rebirth. Thus, Alexander's story becomes a stirring testament to resilience and the enduring power of truth. His journey reminds us that every scar carries the promise of growth, and that the light of understanding can ultimately guide us toward a future filled with new beginnings and lasting change. In embracing his past and confronting the betrayals that once defined him, Alexander emerges as a beacon of transformation, a living reminder that from the depths of despair can arise a renewal of spirit and the promise of a better tomorrow. This enduring saga, rich with emotional nuance and intricate detail, serves as a timeless reminder that the journey of self-discovery is paved with both sorrow and joy. Every challenge faced, every betrayal endured, and every moment of quiet reflection contributes to the mosaic of our existence, urging us to seek light amid darkness and to trust in the transformative power of truth.